Okay, hey, what's up, everybody? I'm not going to be on here for too long. Sorry, it took me almost 30 minutes to start this live stream. I had fatherly duties I had to attend to. Wife's getting the nausea from the pregnancy, so she had to go lay down, which hence meant I had to cook and clean and watch kids and all that good stuff. And I was taking the time to review the latest episode from Sean Ryan. Anyone else get sick after the whole fog thing happened? I came down with some sort of a respiratory thing, but it's starting to fade away, thank God. So this whole event with Sean Ryan, the guy that came on, former Army intel, still currently an intelligence asset. He said that he actually got news from this guy that he sent him an email, and I've got the email. And the guy in the Tesla truck bomb is more or less a whistleblower who want to commit suicide. And he wanted to get out information that he felt was very pertinent. He's a special forces guy, an 18 Zulu, I believe. That's their demolitions sergeant. That's their demolitions expert. And there doesn't seem to be any type of actual connection between this guy, the former SF cat who blew up his Cybertruck, and then what happened over in New Orleans. Maybe a weird coincidence. Most of us don't believe in that. But this is what happened. So what we are ascertaining so far is that the Tesla truck suicide bomber, more or less, he wanted to get out some sort of confidential secret information to the media. He asked for Sean Ryan, Pete Hegseth, the former Fox News pundit who may become the incoming head of the DOD, and reached out to a couple other news agencies. He wanted to report that there was war crimes that he knew about. He wanted to report that there is something to do with, I don't know how else to say this, UFO drone-like technology, something about gravitic engines. I'm not an engineer. I can barely get my four-wheeler to run right now, so I'm not a mechanic. I'm good at breaking things. But what he's talking about is a program that he had access to or had knowledge of, that he thought that it was something that could be, I don't know, whatever technology he's talking about, it could help prevent mass death, more or less. So let's just take all that in and just analyze that for a second. Think of it like this. In the last year or so, we've had all these disclosures about UAP, UFO, aliens, biologics, all the whistleblowers, and nothing's really coming of it. Stephen Greer announces that before the inauguration, he actually said that before the end of December, the 31st of December, that he was going to be having a group of people that are in the agencies, in the military, who are going to come out and they were going to talk about this type of technology. I wonder if this guy had any type of dealings with Stephen Greer. The FBI is all over this right now. Homeland Security is all over this right now. Sean Ryan is about to be a public enemy number one to the federal government because of the show that he just did, and good on him. Good on him. In the show, he said that, reached out to the FBI, they reached out to Homeland, they reached out to the lawyers, try to pass on this information, which is the right thing to do. You pass on information. But he's like, I don't trust any of them. I don't like any of them. I don't want to be on the phone with any of them. And I damn sure don't want to talk to any of them, which is also the correct way to do that. Because just as quickly as you think these people would help you, they will set you up just as fast. So so that's what I know so far about what's happening with the Tesla Cybertruck. Now, here's the email. I forget the brother's name, the former Army Intel guy who gave the briefing about this, but great show. Thank you so much for coming out. Sean Ryan, thank you for what you did by putting this information out there and helping to bring more light to this instead of shading it and hiding it in the darkness like our government and our mainstream media will do. I'm proud of my veterans who are coming out of the woodwork to try and help unfurl this country from the ragdoll mess that we're in. I wish we had a little bit more help from law enforcement. I wish we had a little bit more help from the intel communities. I wish more people would pay attention to this country that you live in and try to help it, and we the people in it. But we got to do the best with what we got. So, because of this, I want you to know that everything Sean Ryan's about to say is probably going to end up in a skiff. He's going to be monitored for quite some time. All of his communication. They'll do a key 4 wiretap on him. FISA court will probably approve it. And Sean knows this already. So he's taking great risks and eventually, could surrender his own liberties by doing the show he just did. And some of the prior shows that he's been doing. Let me read this. Maybe this will help. So this is the email. I know many of you have just watched this. You've either watched the Sean Ryan interview or you're going to watch it. If you haven't seen it yet, after you've seen our show, or you can stop and press pause, go and watch that so you'll have further context. So this is what the guy who ended his life in the Tesla Cybertruck emailed to the gentleman that was interviewed on the Sean Ryan show. He says this: in case I do not make it to my decision point or on to the Mexico border, I am sending this now. Please do not release this until the 1st of January and keep my identity private until then. First off, I am not under duress or hostile influence or control. My first car was a 2006 Black Ford Mustang V6 for verification. What we have been seeing with drones, I think it's interesting. The first thing he wants to disclose is, for one thing, I'm not suicidal. I don't want to hurt myself. No one's forced me to say this. Let's talk about drones. All right, I say that to say this real quick. When the Army did a phone call interview between the staff of the Sean Ryan show, to include his attorney, and the spokesperson for the Army, the spokesperson hinted towards the end of their conversation, by the way, the DNA of the body that's in the Cybertruck does not match what we have in the database with his kid. So it's either hinting at two things: that this was him hurting himself, ending his life, and because of whatever is going on with the child, or it is a head nod to the body that you think is in there is not the body that you think is in there. I get really tired of all this James Bond crap, but let's continue. All right, so he says, what we've been seeing with drones is the operational use of gravitic propulsion systems powered aircraft by most recently China in the East Coast. So he's saying the drones that everyone was seeing on the East Coast, which it wasn't just the East Coast, it was in the interior of the United States, West Coast, southern border. But he's saying that was China, but throughout history has been the United States. Only we in China have this capability. Our OpCon location for this activity is in the box below. China has been launching them from the Atlantic from submarines for years. I freaking knew it. Submersible launch. But this activity recently has picked up. As of now, it's just a show of force, and they're using it similar to how we use the balloon for SIGINT and ISR. Signals intelligence and ISR is a intelligence gathering apparatus, which are also part of the integrated comm system. There are dozens of those balloons in the air at any given time. The so what is because of the speed and stealth of these unmanned aircraft. They are the most dangerous threat to national security that has ever existed. They basically have an unlimited payload capacity and can park it over the White House if they wanted it. It's checkmate. The United States government needs to give the history of this, how we are employing it and weaponizing it, how China is employing them, and what the way forward is. China is poised to attack anywhere in the East Coast. Okay. So, over the past month or so, we've been hearing a lot of scuttlebutt about China preparing for war. I've spoken to contractors for the government and also military personnel within the last month who have also sound the alarm that what we're getting ready to fight is absolutely China. So that's kind of the same thing that this gentleman was saying. I've been followed for a week now from likely Homeland or the FBI, and they're looking to move on me and are likely going to let me cross into Mexico, but won't because they know I am armed and have a massive VBID. A VBID is something that we experienced in Iraq called a vehicle-borne IED, vehicle-borne improvised explosive devices. They're actually quite devastating. Along with that, it can be any type of vehicle. It can be a truck, it can be a car, it can be an 18-wheeler, a school bus. It could be a delivery vehicle. It could be a drone. It could be a bicycle. They put them on freaking donkeys. So they put them in the bodies of dead dogs. IEDs suck. And Jamie just sent me a text saying he just got demonetized. Yeah, welcome to the club, Jamie. Welcome to the club, buddy. So he's saying that he's being followed. I would think that a guy who's a 20-year team sergeant for the Special Forces would understand that he's being followed and the techniques to not only figure that out, but also how to stop people from following you to the best of your ability. He said, I've been trying to maintain a very visible profile and have kept my phone, and they are definitely digitally tracking me. I have knowledge of this program and also war crimes that were covered up during airstrikes in Nimruz, province of Afghanistan in 2019 by the Biden administration, or by the administration. So that would have been 2019. That would have been Trump's administration, by the DOD, the DEA, and the CIA. I conducted targeting for these strikes for over 125 buildings. 65 were struck because of CIVCAS, civilian casualties, that killed hundreds of civilians in a single day. The United States Air Force continued strikes after spotting civilians on initial ISR. So that's your infrared satellite that's looking down, monitoring everything. It was supposed to take 6 minutes and scramble all aircraft at Central Command. The UN basically called these war crimes, but the administration made them disappear. I was part of that cover-up with the United States Air Force and an unknown agent of the DEA. So I don't know if my abduction attempt is related to either. I worked with General Miller's 10 staff on this, as well as the response at Bala Murgbab. Okay. So the guy committed suicide, and he said that he wanted to come clean about the war crimes and about this drone technology that we have. Along with that, let's discuss a few other things. I'm still waiting for more to come out about what happened in New Orleans, like everybody else. I'm not going to sit here and speculate any more than what we already know. There was a U.S. military veteran with deep-seated animus against Jews who tried to join Hezbollah and ended up getting rolled up by the FBI. A New York City postal worker was stabbed to death over a spot in line at a deli sandwich. New York City is out of control right now. In Virginia, there was 150 explosives that were found on a Virginia farm. The FBI is working to determine the plans of 36-year-old suspect after investigators discovered 150 already pre-made, primarily pipe bomb explosives on his 20-acre farm. Why would you waste your life away, dude? According to the FBI, this is the largest cache of explosives ever found in the Bureau's more than 100-year history. Joe Biden, it is now coming out from the Telegraph and a few other channels that Joe Biden has discussed plans to strike Iran's nuclear sites before Trump's inauguration. Gee, I wonder what that could cause. So it looks like they want to try and cause what? World War III right before Trump comes in, or just, get the party started early, I guess. Most likely, from some of the rhetoric we've heard anyways, at the rate that Iran is going with its warfare internationally, it sounds like Iran would eventually have to be struck anyways. I think that what we're about to say next should tell people that whatever has happened in 2025, if the restrainer is keeping his hands on the pickle jar and just barely releasing a little bit of pressure, well, that seems to be what's happening. It is January the 3rd. It's Friday, 4:44 p.m. Let's talk about this. An explosive device, another improvised explosive device, and suspect found near a train car in Idaho, thanks to fresh footprints in the snow. So here we have another guy who wanted to plant an explosive device onto a train. Why is so much of this happening? There was an elderly man arrested in the UK for causing anxiety with social media posts. I don't know how you guys in Britain do it. That is some of the worst policing I've ever seen in my life. If you've ever seen that video, guy's in his 50s or 60s. He posted something that was like anti-woke. It caused distress and anxiety for some of the liberals, and the police came and arrested him. America, that's the eventual future. If we do not grasp this concept, that if you do not fight for your future, you will hand it over to the weak and the pathetic. And the weak and the pathetic are always going to do their best to put their jackboots on top of the neck of the proud and the strong, of the godly and the righteous. They don't want you to ever be the alpha male. They want you to be subservient to them. It's a sycophant type of idea. That's what we see now in law enforcement in the UK. I'm not a fan of it. I'll debate any of the other UK law enforcement officer that's out there. Some have actually reached out to me. And I understand there's a few of you guys who love your job, you love your country, you're doing the best you can with the crap that you got to deal with. But for the most part, if you ever wanted to have a civil war, bro, guess who's getting turned on first? The police in UK. eventually this rhetoric flows across the pond to the United States. We hear it with the communists, we've heard it with the Democrats and the liberals, and we hear it now with the Republicans, we hear it with the veterans. They don't trust the government, they don't trust law enforcement, they damn sure don't trust the media, and everybody sees the America going down the same path of the collapse of Rome. These things are not unknown to people. People have phones, they've got the internet, they've got YouTube and Twitter, and they've got social media. People are talking in a way that prior to 9/11, we didn't have this access of people talking everywhere all the time, passing information. Well, now it is everywhere. Now people are talking about these things all the time. And what that does is it's just the stick in the pot that's just stirring up the people. The drones is just stirring up the people. This whole mask mandate crap that's coming back now. The White House has talked about it. New York City's talking about it. The healthcare facilities in many states right now are talking about, pretty much all 13 Democratic states. California has gone into a state of emergency because of bird flu. We see, without having to look too far deep into the magic wand or the magic 8 ball, that what's in our future is a repeat, but maybe worse, of Trump's first presidential run. Now, the far left extremists like Antifa and Black Lives Matter and the others have also announced that they want to come back out and play as well. Let me see. So the Democratic Socialists of America is saying that they need a new strategy to run socialists as independents against Democrats in 2026. And you have now AOC coming out being touted as a potential viable person to run for 2028 for the presidential elections. Can you imagine President Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the communist? This is the crazy world that we live in currently. Bird flu shows mutations in first ever severe human case. A person in Louisiana has contracted the nation's first severe bird flu case after the virus mutated inside their body, allowing it more easily infect their upper respiratory system. Here's the dangers of this. Okay, so for small time homesteaders and farmers such as myself and many of you out there, we manage small flocks. We primarily deal with birds. And so, which is extraordinarily frustrating during this time of year. But the chickens, the waterfowl, the turkeys and all that, that's what we focus on. They're saying that the bird flu came from a backyard chicken coop. And now we've got this rhetoric that we may have to shut down backyard farming. Holy no. No, you're not. You're not going to do it. I'm not going to do it, because when the American dollar doesn't mean anything, you'll probably trade your silver and gold for these freaking eggs and turkeys and geese and ducks. But this is the direction where we're going. I was watching Glenn Beck earlier today, and he said that, and I got to find the article, but he's reading an article that Joe Biden may be touting a executive order to stop the distribution from small town farmers with organic whole milk, raw milk, from it being distributed and allowed for consumption for human usage. My family, we drive an hour and a half to a place called Cleburne, Texas, and wonderful farm out there. And that's where we get our raw milk from. The milk that you get from the store don't taste the same. It ain't the same. It damn sure ain't milk no more. So imagine the direction they're trying to take us, that they want you with all these horrific Health modifications. What are you going to ban me for next, YouTube? I can't say 20 different words that you've emailed me already. So, health modifications. You can't take those and expect to be healthy. You can't eat the food and expect to be healthy. Whatever the hell it was that was in the fog that was dropping out of the air from like California all the way to Florida to hit here in Texas, it has caused some sort of a respiratory problem for all of us. Is that China? Is that who did it, or is it us? Was it the chemtrails that the government still denies, though I have all the patents for? We'll see. All I can tell you is that I don't expect much change past January the 20th. Let me see. Bird flu now in Phoenix, Arizona. A zoo outside of Phoenix, Arizona, reported an outbreak of the bird flu. Well, you better get in there and kill every single freaking animal, I guess, right? Because it's that big of a deal. You bitch, moan, and complain about bird flu. Let's talk about what was across the border when I was working on the southern border, when I was still in the Department of Homeland Security. We were dealing with people with typhoid, vaccine-resistant polio, the plague, which has made a comeback, every type of STD that you could think of coming across that border, SARS, MERS, H1N1, H2N1, MRSA, Staphylococcus. These people, these poor people, if you want to look at it in a humanitarian way, I don't care like how the vendetta that people get about another human's life, it gets tragic and it gets old at times. These are still human beings. You're supposed to love your neighbor as you love yourself. But remember this, they're just taking advantage of a system that was put in place for them to take advantage of. So, but we saw every type of disease from the Congo. We had Ebola. We had Ebola on the border. And you know, not just the radical zoonotic diseases that are out there, but active terrorism coming back and forth. God knows what the hell those people are bringing back and forth. We do know from one intelligence piece of information we got in 2018 was that Iran was going to send a young jihadi into Juarez, Mexico, through the tunnels by the cartel into El Paso, Texas, with enough either ricin or anthrax to kill half that city. And that was posted the year that we were there on that border. So you don't think that our guard was up? Every day we went home. When I say home, we went back to the hotels we lived out of for a couple months. I mean, people were soaking themselves down with hand sanitizer. I literally would dip my hand to my elbow in hand sanitizer. We all they gave us was hand sanitizer. You'll find this funny. Hand sanitizer and Lysol spray. Oh, and change your uniform regularly and make sure you wash them good. Right? Where do you think we got COVID from? Our group, we were in Laredo, Texas, protecting the immigration courts. They had our special response team there. And these people coming across the border, all coughing, sneezing, hacking up stuff. We didn't wear masks. There was no protocol. And yet they've known since 2019 what was sitting over there in Wuhan because of the NIH, because of Dr. Fauci, who got caught with his biological weapon stuff, and it got pushed over to China and Ukraine and a bunch of other places. And that's why the man's almost a billionaire for helping to fund that research. And yet our group, we get sick. I mean, that first time we got sick, I had to take a whole month's worth of leave. I was sick for an entire month. I felt like I was going to die for a month. And, you know, shortly thereafter that, probably about 4 or 5 months later, COVID hits. And then that's all over the country. And then that was a 2-year fiasco where Trump is part of the reason why the country went into complete lockdown. Trump's part of the reason why you lost a lot of your privileges, a lot of your rights, got harassed by a lot of cops. But not only that, Trump's small part to play with this much. He helped out with the health modifications. I don't know. YouTube, go screw yourself. I'm tired of playing these games with you. Why can't we just say what we need to say? You let the left sit here and talk about pedophilia stuff and grooming kids, and they get to play sexual stuff here on YouTube. But heaven forbid I use actual freaking language. I hope you're watching when you review this, as you review every single one of my videos. I've only got 9 strikes, YouTube. So here we go again. You've got the governors who act like little princelings and kings of their, their sectors, their states, and they get to more or less tell everybody how you can and cannot live. If we see a repeat of this in 2025 and beyond, and to include the Arabic wars all over again, because that's what it appears to be, the war on the Arabs. If we get hurled back into war and the lockdowns, destruction of the dollar, you got all the freaking pandemics, you got the problem with the cartels, the problem with mass violence. Just recently in New York City, within 2 days, there was 2 mass shootings. One happened at a teen dance. The other one happened at a diner. And the New York City says, well, 4 men walk into a diner and kill 10 people. That's not really terrorism. Yeah, it is terrorism. It absolutely is. Is it not terrorizing people? Does it have to be from Al Qaeda to be considered terrorism? Anyways, we've gone beyond common sense approach to how things should be done in this country. Eventually, we the people are going to forget our good moral values, and our patience is going to run out. And people will eventually police their own, take care of themselves, negate every single possibility that they can away from the federal government. And we're going to have a lot of problems here in America. And I don't think that there's a single man or woman that you can elect that can fix that. If you do fix that, the only way you do fix that is by becoming a dictator, have an authoritative regime, become king again. Otherwise, how do you control hundreds of thousands of people with all their own little plans if you don't have a solid, legit military force like a Saddam Hussein, like a Vladimir Putin, where if you say anything against the dictator, you know who's going to come visit you at midnight? We don't have that threat in America. And because of that, now there's 10,000 things wrong or more with the strongman stance. But there's 10 million things wrong with 3,000 strongmen, from Congress, the Senate, the people that are in heads of control of the government, from the intelligence agencies all the way to the USDA, to the FAA. It doesn't matter. Every single unelected person who is more or less a bureaucrat for life, the deep dark state. And then you got all the assistants. You got the assistant attorney generals. You got the SACs that are from all the different federal agencies for investigating you for whatever reason they want anymore. You've got all the lieutenant generals, the lieutenant governors. You've got all the governors, and they all have their little agendas. And nobody wants to listen to anybody. Nobody wants to play ball with everybody. But at the same time, while you overtax the crap out of us, while you make it harder for us to live, while you continuously make our standard of life more difficult, you get more money from Israel, you get more money from China, and you expect us to just sit back and take it. Eventually, America won't sit back and take it anymore. And the last thing that any of us wants in this damn country is a second civil war. The last thing any one of us wants in this country, more especially me, is to have more violence than we already have. Which is why I don't put my faith in these people. I put my faith in the Lord Jesus Christ, because these people have proved to us they're going to fail. They don't care if they fail. In fact, they tell you they're going to fail. They tell you they're going to betray you. At the same time, they ask for money. So put your hope in a man as much as you feel like you actually think you can. But I'll tell you right now, put your hope and faith in Christ. That's the only one that's going to lead us out of any darkness, is your hope and faith in Christ. and be ready for his coming. Train, prepare, and pray. Be ready for his coming. Violence is blasting through the atmosphere right now in the United States. You might want to learn how to use a gun for your self-defense and for your family. If you're one of those fence sitters, if you're one of those people who thinks, I'll use a crossbow, I'll use a slingshot, I'll use a bow and arrow. Good luck. Good luck. You live in a place where I wish I could live in. But as a consenting adult who understands violence, who's also a father and a husband, I cannot live in make-believe land. As someone who has been in combat multiple times, I've been a government contractor in Iraq. I've worked in 4 prisons, and then I worked the streets for 10 plus years in law enforcement. I cannot look at all the things I've done in my life and say, yeah, you know what? America's getting better. We're not. We're not going to get better. Terrorism is going to get more sophisticated. The ability for our Congress to continuously pay these terrorists is becoming more sophisticated. The Taliban gets paid $84 million, with an M, $million. Not a year, not every quarter, not every month, every week. But don't pay your taxes. Don't pay your taxes. In this America of 2025, where Hunter Biden is the standard for how these people think they can act and get away with anything, I welcome God's judgment. I welcome the righteous judge, because there's nothing we can do about it. Put your hope and faith in Christ, my friends. To go over an article real quick and to harp on a little bit of preparedness. We talk about train, prepare, and pray all the time. Let's talk about the preparedness stuff. It would behoove you to make sure this year that you've got some sort of additional financial pillow to land on, and that you have a few of these next items I'm going to talk about. I'm not going to say this because I can point to a company and tell you for whatever cool slogan, 5-10%, I can get money kickback. I get no kickback from anybody for what I'm about to say. I'm not going to point you in the direction of anybody for what I'm about to tell you to get. But what I'm going to tell you is what I have in the furtherance of things that I'm going to continue to buy. Continue to increase your medical kit. Continue to increase the stuff like Jace Medical, who doesn't sponsor me. The other one sponsors me. I would continue to get some form of food, but My Patriot Supply, who I'm kind of an affiliate, I don't talk about them. I think I get 10% back from any time someone buys something from My Patriot Supply with their link. I don't even know if our link for it is on the description of the video after this. But that's not the food I'd tell you to go and get. The stuff that's going to take a tremendous amount of water to make, that is empty calories, not the amount of protein that you need, and you stockpile all this crap, which is, I mean, at this point, you're stockpiling dog biscuits in my idea. I don't think that's what you need. Now, to say that and also turn on a 180 and also say, me personally, I like Peak Refuel. My kids love it. They'll eat it, which is a huge thing for me. My wife likes it. She'll eat it. I don't have taste buds anymore, so I'll eat a dead raccoon on the side of the road if I'm hungry. But this stuff comes with enough calories and enough protein to keep you going for whatever is going to happen in the future. Now, all the doomsday theorists and all the people who want to say that the world's coming to an end next fall, next this, next that, next date, all you date setters, I will tell you this. we're talking about a caloric game. You've got to have the calories to carry the gear like what I have sitting over here. When you got close to 50, 60 to 100 pounds of gear, you're carrying a backpack, rifle, kids, whatever other belongings you need. You have to consume twice the amount of food to keep yourself up, your energy up, to keep not only your energy, but your situational awareness up, but it'll also help you sleep, having that full stomach. But you got to be ready, not just for that day, but for the next day and the next day and the next day. Your immune system depends on how well you eat. If you buy crap food, you're going to put yourself and your body eventually in a crap state, and you're not going to operate as well as you need. That's just simple facts. Okay. To the best of our ability, we should always try to stick to some sort of live food like game, fish, eggs, stuff like that. But if it's just calories for calories' sake and for taste and for protein, man, I throw my hat with Peak Refuel. They don't sponsor me. They don't know who the hell I am. And I don't reach out to them for sponsorship. I'm just telling you what's in my pack right there. And all this stuff that's staged underneath my my desk over here, it's all Peak Refuel. So we got the big boxes of Augustin Farms. We bought those 5-6 years ago when they were cheap, $70 a bucket. Now they're like $200 a bucket. So you got to be thinking about this, right? Along with the food, along with the medical stuff, get your body in shape. Make sure you've got good clothes. Make sure you've got good shoes. Make sure you've got good socks. Don't get cotton. Cotton eventually is rotten. It causes foot rot. Stay away from cotton. Stick to wool, synthetic wool, stuff like that. Once again, me personally, shit, it's a fan. I'm not going to be bugging out or anything in blue jeans or any type of khakis or anything like that. I'm in, honestly, the lightest type of stuff that I could find. Come here, you. So these are some pants that I've been trying for a while now. Veteran Company makes them. It is a company called Born Primitive. And that's pretty much where I'm buying all my freaking pants from now on. It doesn't help the fact that I'm a little bit bigger than the average man. I think I'm at like a 44 waist. But this stuff is nice. It's extraordinarily light. I've hiked in the mountains with it. I've done a bunch of workouts in it. I've worked in it. I've shot in it. I've worked around the house in it. Stuff seems to be holding up well. Fully gusseted crotch, because if you're like me, guys, if it's not a fully gusseted crotch, you just tear the pants in half. That's what the problem with my really super cheap $20 Magellan pants that I like so much is, that you're just going to rip the damn things in half eventually. These pants are $200. You have another company called Cry Precision. Cry Precision has been the standard for combat pants for 20 years at least. I'm never going to buy another Cry Precision pant again. I'm only buying these. And I own 3 sets of Cry Precision. Those are like $340 pants with the knee pads. So these, they do have a knee pad insert. Super light. It's kind of like just a gel. Yeah, that's what I'm sticking to. I want to be light. I want to dry off very quickly. And I want to be as agile and mobile as possible. For the life of me, I need to lose 70 pounds to be back into being light again. But you got to think about what we're talking about. If another Hurricane Helene happens, if we actually do get invaded by China, all right, if they actually do take down the grid, guys, you're probably not going to stay at your house for as long as you think. You're going to have to move to a place where there's good solid water, where you're probably into the trees and not out in the sun, because you don't have AC no more. You don't have electricity no more. You got to go kind of back into the woods again. And you honestly, and I harp on this all the time, people don't listen to me, and that's fine. But that whole 1800s frontiers mindset, we'll eventually go back to it. I don't want to, but I think that's the eventuality. So Yeah. uh, that's just an idea of preparation for you guys. Everybody right now is talking about, buy my night vision and my suppressors and all my doodads, and put your money where you think it is worth it. I'm not going to tell you where or who to buy from. Okay. The stuff I tell you to buy, if you feel like it, is the stuff that I actually use. I don't think you have to have $14,000 of night vision to feel like a completed man in 2025. I have one, and one's enough for me. I've got a laser device for my rifle, a good flashlight, and I've got two good rifles. My wife's got the small machine gun and a bunch of shotguns and hunting rifles. And what else do you need? You're not going to carry all of it. Get something that works well. Stop wasting your money on the next AR-15 lower and upper and builds and all this. Make sure you have a couple good, well-rounded rifles and rounds to match it, and get out and go to someone and go train. 2025, we have training coming up for Vindicta Solutions. Our Shoot, Move, Communicate course is at the very end of February, beginning of March. Please go to our website, www.vindictasolutions.com, and check that out. I strongly recommend, you can come if you'd like, or you can go with someone else. It doesn't matter. Just get some sort of freaking training before all hell breaks loose. Learn what you can and cannot do with that gun. Learn how to deal with people, how to use close quarters combatives, how to be a better marksman. Because for one thing, if we're working with someone like a husband and a wife, you're sleeping in the same house, you're going to respond to the same threat. You should know how to talk to each other. You should know how to work with each other as a team, especially if one of you is designated taking care of the threat while the other one of you is taking care of the kids. You can come and train like that at our training. We train couples all the time. Secondly, is get some sort of basic fundamentals of marksmanship: rifle, pistol, shotgun. All right. That's the three standard things that you're going to see here: rifle, pistol, shotgun. I'm telling you right now, I don't care if you have hunted in the woods your entire life, you are not as good at using that gun as you think you are. Yeah, you may be able to put a pumpkin on a freaking fence post from 200 yards away and strike it 1 out of every 3 bullets. Good for you. The gun is not what I'm trying to train. I'm trying to train this. I want to train your mind. That's where we got to build those skills, and we build the actual physical skills by repetitive applications of them. But, and I don't know, this is a testimony for me that I'm quite proud of. Every single person who's ever come to our training, veterans, law enforcement, guys with zero training, they've always left saying, I've learned more and I'm more comfortable with the firearm, but I'm more comfortable with myself in the encounter. It's how to deal with yourself in the encounter, how to deal with someone else, how to speak to them, how to stay calm, learn all the different options that you have in front of you. All right. We want to survive every incident. It's not some glorious, fanciful firefight. We want to be able to survive. We want to be able to tell the tale, and also not go to prison by doing it. So therein lies the whole part about knowing how to use your gun. You're accountable for every single round that comes out of that barrel. And until Jesus comes back, you're going to be accountable for every single bullet that comes out of that barrel. So know your target and what lies beyond it. Know what you can and cannot do with a rifle. Learn how to move, shoot, move, and communicate with these rifles. We teach that at our course. We don't do live firearms typically, but Justin and Damus and I, the Vindicta Solutions team, we have been talking about making an introductory course for pistol and rifle. If that is something that you would be interested in, having a 1 or 2 day course please let us know in the comment section. Please email us. Let us know if that's something that you would like to be done. We're talking about at the end of, close to the end of this year, probably sometime in the fall, I believe Justin and I said maybe September, we're going to try and put on a women's only course. My wife's been talking about this for a while. We've had it asked by multiple other people. So we're finally going to do it this year. We're going to put together a women's only course. It's the standard shoot, move, communicate course. We're not going to shorten anything. We're just going to teach you the basics like everyone else who comes through the course, treat you like an adult, put you through every scenario. But this time, you don't have to worry about all the guys that are training next to you. We've had the complaints. We've heard, the reason why women would like to train with other women, and that's completely cool with me. So along with that, we also have the patrol course. Now, the patrol survival course is an introductory course for any of you who've never done any type of infantry-based military application. What does that mean? What that means is we're going to teach you how to form up in a squad, and you're going to go and react in your little area of operations that we're going to be in, and you're going to be responding to threats multiple times a day. The way we ran it last time was we did a patrol every single hour that lasted about 30 minutes. It is a kick you in the face type of course. It will gut check you if you're out of shape. It will definitely gut check you if you're wearing too much gear, if you don't have the right kind of gear, if this is something that you want to do or not. And this is all about team building, learning how to communicate with people, working in a small unit leadership. We strongly advise if you have a church security team, this would be the course that'd be great to put your guys on, because every single patrol out of 3 different teams plus a squad leader, everybody's going to rotate being a team leader. Everybody's going to get the chance to be in charge. You're going to find a lot of strengths and a lot of weaknesses in groups. You're going to use a lot of radio communication. We've got all the cool, fanciful stuff for you to use at night, from night vision and thermal optics and whatnot. And we got a ton of different curveballs to throw at you. And the whole thing is to show you the crappiest situation possible, make it as tough as possible. It is nothing even compared to what we did in the School of Infantry. So don't even think it's going to be that hard. But within 2.5 days, we're going to try and show you as much as possible so that in case it ever happens to you, you can form up a group of guys, formulate a plan on a whiteboard, and go out and execute that plan and come home every night. That's the plan. That's the idea. After we did the first course, Hurricane Helene hit. Some of the people that were actually at our course were employing the tactics that we taught them a month later. So it's not that it has zero application. We're not here to try and teach you how to take on the commies, or you're not going to leave becoming Marine Force Recon. This honestly is for the standard man to learn how to employ himself properly within a large team of guys. All right. So I'm going to check the chat real quick because I never do this. It's my fault. People always have questions, so I'll try and answer them in the next 15 minutes, and then we're out of here. Oh, before that, let me read a wonderful story to y'all, because it warmed me up reading it. Let me see if I can find it. Come on. For Pete's sake. Anyways, China has some other type of virus is breaking out that they're saying now is a respiratory disease that's worse than COVID. There you go. Short story. Go and Google that on your own. We got any questions in the chat room real quick? Try and scroll up, see if there is anything. Sorry, my voice sounds like crap. Like I said, when that fog stuff happened here, what, a week ago, and pretty much everybody that I've talked to at the gym and around town are coming down with some sort of a respiratory illness. So, yeah, have you seen the fog in your area? I'd love to know what that is. Freaking mass. Hey, Watery Waves, just read your comment. You said that you plan on coming close to the end of the year. Be watching VindictaSolutions.com. We'll be posting stuff for the end of the year training. I hope to see you there, bro. Carl Ray said, I'd sure like to be 30 years younger. What would that put you at, like 90? Six String Soldier, I'd love to come and take one of your courses. Hey, God willing, man. You know, we had a brother that showed up at one of our courses here in Texas, spur of the moment. You know, he had to work for it, prayed about it, and then kind of like about a week before he could come, he shot me an email, let me know. So, you know, if it's the right thing for you, come on. We always have a wonderful time in Christ. It's always like when we get together, it's a giant Bible study class / tactical training and not goofing around, but we have a lot of fun. It's just boys being boys. You know, we're out there. There's no alcohol. There's no cutting up or anything stupid like that. But we're out there to train. We're very serious in the training, and the training lasts for 12 hours. I mean, it's from 9 in the morning to 9 at night. And then sometimes for the Saturday night, which is the big live scenario, it's always at night. I mean, we've gone until 2 in the morning. So, you know, we're there to take up as much time as possible and keeping you trained as well as we can. And it's not like a hangout course. I have seen some fellow veterans, you know, I understand there were operators, special forces, Navy SEALs, yada yada, and they use that title and celebrityness that they got from it. And I saw someone hold a $900 pistol course for 4 hours. $900 for 4 hours of training. We had to bump up our training from $600, which we took it down. It was at 800. We took it down to 600 because we read the room. The economy sucked, so we did that to help people, hoping with Trump back in, maybe the economy gets better. But regardless, we had to jack it back up to 800 because the rifles that we use, which are these wonderful things right here, these rifles are amazing. They were $1,000. They are now $2,000. Still amazing. But the goal is to eventually get 12 of these bad boys all dressed out with, you know, optics, flashlights. You know, I mean, this is a surefire flashlight. We're going to put all reputable stuff on every single one of these. The goal is so when you come to our training, you literally just pick up our stuff like our little airsoft guns here, right? Glock 19, it'll fit right in your Glock 19 holster. You can put your flashlight on. The goal is that you have familiarity with the weapons. It's not a paintball gun. It's a rifle. It's a pistol. The manual alarms is still pretty much the same. All right. So God's Mercy Call Ministry had a question. Said, what if someone or what if some people come and take what you have? As a Christian, love your neighbor as you love yourself, right? But if someone comes to your place and they wish harm upon you, and their blood's on their heads, that's their fault. Defend yourself. Don't be a victim. Defend yourself. If someone comes up to you in the middle of the parking lot while you're loading your groceries and tries to snag your child, are you going to go, well, I'm a Christian, so see ya, Timmy? Or are you going to fight back? I mean, fight to kill them. I mean, you should defend yourself. Now, there's a difference in defending yourself and being malicious. Defending yourself is if some person comes and starts a fight with me, and I'm able to hit them, knock them down to the ground, and they don't come up and attack me anymore, I'm going to make space, watch my back, try to find the police and report it. But what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to walk over to them while they're lying on the ground unconscious and start stomping their head in. That's murder. So be Christ-like in everything that you do. And also use common sense in everything that you do. Rescue the weak from the hands of the wicked. I believe that's Psalm 83. I fully believe that the warrior priest should have enough knowledge in his head of not just how to defend and protect, but also how to reprimand gently and how to comfort, how to use grace and mercy and righteousness and that judgment at the same time. If not, we're no better than the animals. So if you need to, defend yourself. Not only is that your God-given right, that's your constitutional right, depending on which state you live in that still upholds the Constitution. Hey, Heath Webb. Hey, Super 5, brother. We can resharpen that edge on you anytime you want. Come out and see us. Said I would love to take the course. I'm a prior Marine. I know little. I have forgotten it all, but I'm 44, not the man I used to be. Dude, you ain't that much older than me. We'll get you back in the fight pits. Don't worry about it. Once a Marine, always a Marine. We don't lose that. When is Amy's due date? So my wife's due date is we're thinking it's I think early July, early-ish July. So should be there. Dominic Gonzalez tuning in from Costa Rica. Hey man, thanks for tuning in. How's Costa Rica out there? Alberino told me y'all got some crazy amount of crocodiles that's out in the jungles out there. So is that true? You got a lot of crocodiles out there? Watery waves. Yeah, Amy's due date is beginning of July. She's always pretty much been late, so I'd give it anywhere between the beginning of July to the mid of July. But we don't know the sex of the baby yet. We should know in about 2 weeks. Yeah, we're thinking about 2 weeks. We should be able to go and find out the sex of the baby, and of course, we'll come out here and let you guys all know. Thank you guys so much for your prayers and nice emails and stuff you guys have sent us. It warms our hearts because we think that here at American Vindicta, what we call Record Nation, which has nothing to do with my name. The title Wrecker has nothing to do with my name. It's a mindset. It's an imagery thing. The term Wrecker, as it's pronounced in Scandinavian, it's a warrior man. It's a man who defends his homeland from foreign invaders, a righteous man. So, the whole idea of Wrecker Nation is that why don't we all try to be back in that warrior mindset, that warrior priest mindset, walk that same path as our Lord Jesus. And, to the best of my ability, I'm going to try and teach everybody everything I know until we're told eventually by Congress we can't. So I'm still waiting to see if that goes through. Glory be to Yah. Yeah, I'll talk to Amy about that, about an online baby shower. I think that'd be funny. We might do a poll. What do y'all think? Is it going to be a boy or a girl? I got 3 girls and 2 boys. I'm really hoping it's another boy so that the team could be even over here. But I'm so happy just to have the crazy kids that I have. So either or, I'm blessed. The classes, Marnie Jackson, the classes that are coming up are the next 3 are all going to be in Tennessee. Just to reiterate here and clarify a few things. The Shoot, Move, Communicate course is for anyone 18 and above. No felons can be at the course. You have to be a U.S. citizen. Same thing for our patrol-based training, but the patrol course is for men only. So we're all going to be sleeping in the same metal building together, a bunch of nasty dudes together for a weekend with no running water, basically. That's not the place to bring sisters to. So I don't think anyone would ever want to be out there with that. Guys, just think of it as a freaking, chance to camp with guns. We're going to go out and play cops and robbers in the woods. Glory be to Yah said, if you get 5 or more people or an invading army showing up at your house, do you head to the attic or run for the woods? Well, if you head to the attic and they get inside your house, where are you going from there? You're kind of stuck. Same thing if you go and hide in the basement. If it's overwhelming odds, the smart thing to do is flee. I mean, because is a house worth dying for? Are the things in the house worth dying for? And you got enough backup to repel people? Because you can only repel people for so long if it's just a couple of you versus a dozen of them. Common sense says, live to fight another day. Get off the X and run. Pop smoke and run. Lamont Sherry says, good afternoon. I'm in a wheelchair. Can you suggest to me how I should protect myself? So we've had this question actually multiple times. There's not an easy way to say it. If you can get your concealed handgun permit, get your concealed handgun permit and start going to the range and learn how to shoot. That's all I can tell you. Outside of that, you got to know where you can go and where you can't go and the times and places to go to those places. You know, I'm not here to sugarcoat it for you. You're not going to be bugging out easily. So everything that you do, you need to be thinking 4 steps ahead, 5 steps ahead. You need to have backups for your backups for your backups. I'll converse more with the team because we've actually talked about this for a couple months now, and we will do our best to have a podcast that'll talk about that. So Lamont Cherry, be waiting for that. Thank you for that question. Watery Wave says the Norse were massive and heard they took psychedelics to fight. Yeah, some of them did. But, I mean, we're all corn-fed boys, so. I mean, I think I'm only 312 right now, so. Okay, guys, that's all I got. I got to get back to doing my fatherly duties. Love you guys. Thank you much for showing up for the live stream. We'll have more on tomorrow. Please say prayers and all that for the fam and for Miss Recker. We very much do appreciate the prayers. We appreciate anyone who chooses to help us out financially and support us with our ministry. If you are looking forward to any type of training that we're doing, vindictasolutions.com. The next 3 training dates are going to be for the end of February, March, and then April and May. And those will all be in Tennessee. They'll all be at the Ready Made Resources storefront that's there. You can camp there. It's a great place. It's a beautiful place. It's one of the reasons why we want to move there. But it's also a great way to do a vacation if that's something you've done. We've had people who've even decided to do their honeymoons to freaking who've decided to do their anniversaries during the training course. So there's more to do than just training, plan properly. But guys, stay ready for whatever the heck happens. Keep calm. Don't lose your minds. Don't believe everything that you're being told in the media. And not only that, take everything to the Lord. Make sure that you are doing your Bible studies every day. That's what we'll be coming back with tomorrow with the Bible studies. Continue to increase your knowledge to the best of your ability. Help out your fellow brother to the best of your ability. Stay close to God. We don't know what's going to happen, but we know that it's all in God's plans. We're all in his hands. Jesus is coming back. Don't lose faith and don't have fear. Be the part of that shield wall, that phalanx of faith. One step forward every time the enemy gets closer. Give no step backwards to the enemy. We thank you very much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Love you guys. Stay frosty. See you next time.